Hi, welcome to Troubadour's videos. I've been receiving an overwhelming amount of questions from you guys asking about the performance difference between the HD4870X2 and the new NVIDIA GTX 295, as well as a lot of requests to conduct performance benchmarks on this particular card. So today we're going to run a quick round of the Farcry 2 benchmark and see exactly which one of these is the ultimate killer card. These are the settings we're going to be using for the Farcry 2 benchmark today. We're going to be running the Ranch short loop with a resolution of 1920 by 1200. We're going to turn the anti-aliasing off on the first run, but then on the second run we'll be turning it on to 8x. Performance, everything to very high. Rendering quality, ultra high, very high, or the highest possible setting available. The one thing I do like about this Farcry 2 benchmark, it's a very graphical intensive program, lots of physics, so it really does test that graphics card to the max. When the benchmark is finalized and finished, another little thing I like about this benchmark is it gives you a real in-depth evaluation as well as a statistical chart of all your frame rates and your times. It's a really good tool to identify what's going on with the specific graphic card. The test rig we're going to be using today is one of my latest builds. This is the Barracuda build. We're using the Intel Core i7-965 Extreme CPU on the EVGA X58 motherboard. As you know, the X58 motherboard is compatible both with the ATI Crossfire X and NVIDIA's SLI. And the first contender today is the HD4870X2. Right now we're going to be using the Catalyst 8.11 drivers. I did upgrade to the Catalyst 8.12 drivers. Unfortunately, they seem to be a little glitchy. Crashed the computer twice, gave me several blue screens, as well as disabled one of the GPUs on this graphics card. So we rolled those drivers back and we're going to use the 8.11 today. And here is the HD4870X2 graphics card, mounted in the Barracuda build, ready to rock and roll. And here is the benchmark report from the first run. Not going to bore you guys and show you all these benchmark reports, but let's dig into it and let's see exactly what this card can do. Here's the score from the first run of the Farcry 2 benchmarks. This is the HD4870X2 stock clock settings with no anti-aliasing. Looks like it maxed out with a maximum frames per second of 39 frames a second. Let's see exactly what this graphics card can do with 8x anti-aliasing. Looks like this one's topped out with 8x anti-aliasing stock clock settings at 49 frames a second. So let's go forward a little more, let's overclock this beast and see what we can kick out with some overclock. On this particular card we're going to overclock it to 800 MHz on the core and 1000 MHz on the memory. So let's see exactly how stable and see what we can get from the benchmark. Overclocking this card didn't significantly improve those results. We got a maximum frames per second of 50 as opposed to the 49 on the stock clock settings. So a little disappointing in the performance of the HD4870X2 using Catalyst 8.11 drivers. Let's take a quick look at the GTX 295 specifications. We're going to be running with the GeForce 181.20 drivers. The GTX 295 is an absolutely phenomenal card. Look at the size on that exhaust vent on the side of that graphics card. Absolutely humongous. Okay, and I got to admit, a lot of you guys out there are right. From this angle, this graphics card does indeed look like a VHS video cassette. Here's the Farcry 2 benchmark report for the GTX 295 and the stock clock. We're not going to dwell on those reports too long. Just jump straight in and have a look and see what this card can do. Whoa! 122 frames a second. That's the maximum frames per second coming off this GTX 295 on standard clock. Once again, for all you WoW enthusiasts out there, whoa! Let's chuck in some anti-aliasing. Let's see what this card can do. Wow, 96 frames a second. 96 maximum frames per second with 8x anti-aliasing. Absolutely phenomenal. Now let's turn the heat up a little bit on this GTX 295. We're going to ramp the core clock to 710 MHz. The shader clock linked to 1549 MHz and ramp the memory to 1225 MHz. We're going to put the fan on 100% and let's see what this card can do. Wow! With overclocking we get 99 frames a second off the GTX 295 with 8x anti-aliasing and everything set to max in Farcry 2. Absolutely phenomenal. And here's the results of the maximum frames per second coming off these cards under all the conditions. As you can see here, it definitely looks like the ATI cards are hurting without that physics engine. And there you have the results. The GTX 295 is definitely the new king of the hill. Well, I hope this video helped you guys and answered a couple of your questions and put your concerns to rest, especially you guys who are in the middle of building a new PC or in the middle of a current upgrade. So hopefully this benchmark video helped you. Once again, I'd like to thank all you guys who post comments and rate these videos, especially my subscribers. However, if you want to stay up to date with the latest and greatest in PC and gaming hardware, feel free to subscribe.